Yo, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to be doing the NHL 2020-21 preseason rankings tier list. Um, I'm just going to be placing the teams where I think they're going to end up by the end of the season and I'm explaining a bit why I'm placing them that way. All right, first off, we got the Colorado Avalanche, and I think that this team is really, really good, and I'm going to place them as contenders for sure. Last year they fell short. They lost in the playoffs in the second round, unfortunately. I had them winning the whole thing last year, but I still think that this young core just keeps getting better and better and better every year. So, yeah, I have them as contenders this year. All right, next up, we got the St. Louis Blues, and I wasn't really impressed with their playoffs last year, and they just lost their captain in Pietrangelo, and they also but they did sign Torrey Krug. They also lost their backup goalie. Uh, yeah, so I have them making playoffs, but yeah, yeah, not contenders really this year. Next up, we got the Tampa Bay Lightning. I have them as contenders again. They're the winners of the Stanley Cup this year, and I don't see them slowing down really. They haven't lost that many pieces. I think that Zach Bogosian is out, and that's it so far. Yeah. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. I don't see them losing that easily. Next up, we got the Boston Bruins. And for them, I actually have the Bruins in the wild card spot. And that is because they just lost Torrey Krug. Uh, their offensive core just keeps getting older and older. And I don't know how many more, like, I don't know if it's going to be easy for them to uh, be like the best team in the league again. And also, we don't know what's going to happen with Tuukka Rask. So is he going to bounce back? Is he just not going to play as good? Did he lost his edge or something? So yeah, we're going to have to see that. Next up, I got the Canes, and I have the Canes making the playoffs. Uh, yeah, this team is really young but has a lot of skills, and I could see them make a run in the playoffs, like make a deep run in the playoffs. All right, now we got the Vancouver Canucks, and I have them missing the playoffs, and I'll explain why. They lost their starting goaltender, Jacob Markstrom, and they replaced him with Braden Holtby, which is a little bit of downgrade, if you ask me. I know Holtby won the cup, but Holtby also had a down year last year, and we don't know if he's going to bounce back or not. Yeah, also, they lost Tanev, they lost Stetcher and Toffoli for nothing in exchange. They still have Elias Pettersson and Brock Besser and Quinn Hughes, so I could see them make a push for playoffs, but we'll have to see. All right, next up, the Washington Capitals. And for them, I have a hard time seeing them miss the playoffs, so where am I going to put them? I think we come back to them. So the Devils are going to be an oof for me. I don't think they really improved anything during this offseason. Yeah, it's just if you don't change anything, it's just going to end up the same as last year. They have Jack Hughes and Mackenzie Blackwood, which are two really, really good up and coming players, which I could see like maybe have a breakout season this year, but we'll have to see for that. Next up, we have the Ducks. The Ducks is a I don't know if they did anything again this offseason, but I don't see them as a good team this year again. Just like last year, they have the same old core, and they don't look like they're on an upswing, you know. Yeah, so that's about it for the Ducks. All right, the Calgary Flames. I have them making it in the wild card spot. They finally have a goaltender, and they solidified their defense with Chris Tanev. The problem is, are Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, and yeah, all these guys gonna be able to produce again. They've been producing pretty well like the past couple of years, but they need to produce in the playoffs. But this is a regular season tier list. I'm just gonna leave it like this. All right, next up we got the Flyers, and I actually think the Flyers are gonna make the playoffs fairly easily. Yeah, so they have a good team. They have a I don't know if their like run last year was kind of a fluke or anything, but I think they play a pretty good style, and yeah, they're pretty consistent. So that's pretty much it. I think they're gonna have to go and find out. I think they're in the talks for the Line A trade or like maybe a Johnny Gaudreau trade if it happens ever. But yeah, if those happen, they could definitely become contenders. All right, next up, the Montreal Canadiens, and I'm a big fan of the Habs, but I have to put them in the playoffs anyways. Even if I'm a bit biased, I think that this team showed a lot of people that they could play last year, and they just got better this year. Yes, they lost Max Domi, but they replaced him with Tyler Toffoli and Josh Anderson. And they also got a backup goalie that can actually stop the puck, unlike fucking Keith Kincaid from last year, who made like 15 saves and dipped. Uh, yeah, so we have a backup goalie now. We just got a bigger blue line. We got kids like Romanov coming up. We have Caulfield who might play. And yeah, so I think that this team looks really good. And you got guys like Kotkaniemi and Suzuki that looked amazing in the playoffs last year. So yeah, can't wait to see what happens with them. All right, next up we got the Chicago Blackhawks, and I have the Blackhawks missing the playoffs because just their core keeps getting older, and we could see it in the playoffs last year. They just got bodied by the Vegas Golden Knights. In yeah, there's not much you can do. Like they didn't have goaltending, and they didn't do anything this offseason to fix that. Um, yeah, their forward group up front is kind of on and off. Like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm not a big fan of it. And then their defensive core is like really not the best. Like Keith is good, but he's really old. And then you got guys like yeah, I don't even know who's on that blue line, man. Oof. All right, next up, the New York Islanders, and I have the Islanders making the playoffs. We're gonna place them like this. I'm gonna place them at the end. Yeah, the Islanders, for to me, they went into the conference finals last year, last playoffs, I mean, and they just got beat by Tampa, who was like a super team, but they looked really good, like beating the teams they beat. And yeah, I think they can definitely make the playoffs this year again. The Columbus Blue Jackets, and I also have them making the playoffs. Uh, they just got out and went to get Max Domi. Both of their young goaltenders are insane. And yeah, I think they might need just like one or two more players, more pieces to just like fall into place, and they could make a deep push in the playoffs for the first time. Next up, we got the Jets, and I have the Jets as a wild card team, just because I'm not really sure that everything they did this offseason is going to help them that much. They went out and grabbed some depth at center and signed some defensemen. If they go out and sign Travis Hamonic, it might change my opinion on them. But yeah, I think that the Jets in the wild card spot makes sense. And then we have the Kings. The Kings are just going to be an oof again. They went out and grabbed Elias Anderson. They do have Quinton Byfield, but I don't think that it will be enough to make them that much better, if you guys know what I mean. I still think that this team has an old core, kind of like all teams in California right now. All of their teams are like past their prime. But yeah, they do have Quinton Byfield, and they have some good pieces, good young guys, but it's going to take a bit more time to develop them. Next up, we got the Vegas Golden Knight, and I have the Golden Knights as uh, a playoff team. They went out and grabbed Pietrangelo. They lost a lot of pieces trying to get him though, so I don't know how that's gonna end up. But they have a great goaltending tandem with Fleury and Leonard. So yeah, I think that's this team could make a big splash again in the playoffs. Like I don't think they ever missed the playoffs since their arrival in the league, and I don't see it happening this year. Next up, we got the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I actually have the Toronto Maple Leafs as contenders this year. Now, no, I can't bring myself to do this. Nah, I can't bring myself to do this. But I do think that they will make a big splash in during this year. They're they have Matthews and Marner and Tavares, so I think that's good. They did get grittier. They did get a bit bigger as well by bringing in Wayne Simmons and trading some of their small forwards like Janssen and Kapanen. But yeah, I think that this team is much better than last year for sure. So yeah, I see them going to the playoffs. I've now realized I have to move some stuff because I have too many teams here. Hehe. Well, no, I don't. We'll see. We'll see later. All right, the Oilers. And I actually have the Oilers as a playoff team. Believe it or not, they did get better this year. They got Barry to help on defense. They grabbed Cal Turris. They were really active this offseason, and I think that it's going to really benefit this team, and they're going to be a playoff team. All right, next up, the Florida Panther, and that one's just gonna be a oof again. Yeah, I don't. They're probably losing Mike Hoffman, and yeah, Bobrovsky's not looking so good. That contract is not looking so good. I mean, they have like Barkov and Huberto, but that's about it. Like Dadanov is gone. Man, this team looks really bad. All right, now I have the Pittsburgh Penguin missing the playoff, just because of uh, their core being really old now. Well, not really old, but like older, so it's like harder for them to carry the team. Like Crosby and Malkin are really, really good players, but I don't think that they can bring this team to the playoffs. They're not that great on the defensive side. Jari is not that great. Like we saw it in the playoffs, he struggled a lot, and same thing for Matt Murray, but Matt Murray's gone. So yeah, I don't see this team really making it out of the playoffs. All right, next up we got the Predator, and I got the Predator as I can't have them as a wild card spot. One, two, three, four, five. I could see the Predators making the playoffs. Can I see the Predators making the playoffs? I'm not sure where I'm putting them. They might go here, and I might bump the Flames up. Yeah, I think that's the play. Yep, something like this. Something like this. We'll see. All right, now I got the Rangers, and I have the Rangers actually being yeah, here they get Lafreniere. They got two insane young goaltenders. They just locked up Georgiev for 2 years, I think. Um, yeah, if they can just grab like a third line center, it would like their team would be really good and they'd be set. They'd make the playoffs again. And yeah, I think that this team is really good. I now have the Buffalo Sabres missing the playoff, but just barely, just because the fact that they signed Taylor Hall doesn't mean they're going to be a good team again. They're still struggling down in net and in defense. So if you can score a goal but you can't keep the puck out of your net, you're not going to win. So I don't see them making the playoffs this year. I have also the Senators missing out on the playoffs, just because they're still a young team. I know they grabbed Murray to fix their problems in net, and they now have Dadonov, but they lost Pajot last year, and they're losing another 20 goal scorer in Anthony Duclair. this off season. So yeah, they have a lot of good young guys. They have Tim Stutzel coming in and Jake Sanderson. These guys are going to be great for them in the future, but I just don't think that this year is the year. So I have them missing the playoffs. Now we got the Sharks, and I have the Sharks missing the playoffs as well for the same reason as all the other California teams. They're just not that great anymore. They're a, a shadow of their former glory or something. I don't know what the line is. But yeah, that's why I'm putting the Sharks down there. All right, next up we got the Stars, and I have the Stars as contenders again. And yeah, the reason is easy. They're made it to the Stanley Cup Finals this year. They haven't changed much. Imagine if Ben Bishop is healthy this season and in the playoffs, they could even win the whole thing. So yeah, I have them going pretty far. Now the Wild. The Wild is definitely a meh team. They're missing the playoffs, and yeah, they made a lot of moves though. Like, but I'm not sure it's gonna help them that much. Now we got the Red Wings. I have the Red Wings missing the playoffs, but not last team in the league. But I'm gonna put them in a oof anyways. The players they signed are Bobby Ryan, Troy Stetcher, somebody else, I forgot what's his name, Sam Gagne. These guys are not like elite scorers, and they're not the best players in their position, but they can definitely help out. Yeah. So I think they're still in the rebuilding phase, and I also have the Coyotes in the oof category because they didn't get their first round pick this year. They're not getting a second round pick next year or this year as well. So this team, they lost Taylor Hall. They almost lost their captain Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Uh, their GM quit in the middle of the playoffs. Everything is going wrong for this team, so I have a hard time seeing them doing good. Now for the Capitals, how many teams do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 19 making the playoffs for the West. And I have a hard time fitting the Caps here. So I have the Caps missing the playoffs actually. Actually, I have the Flyers missing the playoffs as well. I know it's a big drop, but yeah. All right, so who's the favorites for me? Definitely the Lightning, and then Avs, and then Stars. And then after that, we're gonna put. I actually think the Habs are gonna go far, and I actually think the Canes can go far as well. Then we're gonna put the Leafs right here. The Leafs in front of the Habs, the Oilers in front of the Habs. Does that make sense? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Jets. The Jets, it depends. It really depends what they do. And then I have the Rangers above them. And then for this part, I'm just gonna rank them like this. Yeah, something like that, right? That would make sense. And then the biggest oof. Yeah. All right, there it is. That's my predictions. That's the standings are gonna look something like this for next season. Uh, you guys can try it. I'll leave the link down in the description for this template. And yeah, tell me what you guys put. Like, send me the screenshots and everything. I'll make sure to watch, and we can talk about this sometime else. See you next time.